freezing in here. Cigarette, I don't know where the fucking went. That's all it was. Looking better as if they ever had to leave for work. snow's melting so fast, it's all coming in pieces. Darn it. You don't.
great Eggo taste with 20% of your daily protein.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Eggo, my protein Eggo.
I think of getting a divorce. What took me off was that living in an apartment on my own, my wife and kids don't live there.
Stories on my life. What's funny about your life? Is this thing on with Lard?
Welcome to Concordia. My mostly scratchable layout based on the model railroad classic book by Lou Westcott. HO Railroad that grows. Except I'm building it in Engage. On this episode of Northern Jersey Railroad, I'll be showing you a chapel I scratched book using the free online software HSD. Designs and printed out on paper using various things, cardstock, and the walls, roof, and architectural bits are glued together. So let's see the progress. The first step in building the chapel is to print out a paper copy of the design. I don't want to reinvent the railroad engine wheel, so if you're interested in learning how to use Inkscape, I strongly recommend you check out Michael Scott's YouTube channel, which I'll link to below. He has numerous tutorials showing step by step how to use the program and design your own buildings and structures. So what I use to design for the chapel. So looking at your paper copy, decide if any changes are needed, and once you're happy with the final design, print out another copy. This time, glue it to a serial box to get a feel for what the actual building will look like on your layout. This is another building I made over a merchant shop. Here I'm taking the printout of the building and tracing a general outline onto the serial box that I'll then use a glue stick to apply over a layer of glue. You want to make sure it's fully covered with the paper sticks to cardstock. It doesn't pull off later on. Then you want to carefully roll out your design to the area and screw that any bumps or bubbles that may form. I haven't had that happen yet, but you want to make sure that doesn't happen. It'll ruin the look of your design, especially for the final product. And then once it's glued, let the glue set up for about an hour or two, and then begin cutting it out. You can use an X-Acto knife, which is what I used when I started, but Michael and others who scratch build use a scalpel and number 10A blades. I finally got one off of Amazon, and it's remarkable the difference in the cut. I highly recommend you get one too. Once you have it cut out, you can include your card mock up to see your design. As you can see here, that's the edge of the sidewalk. My kids broke it. That's okay. You can go back into Inkscape and fix any final details you need or want to add on the wall. Then the fun begins. Adding the textures and features to the inside and outside of your building. Here's the inside of the laundry, barbershop, and general store, along with the walls of the second floor apartment. But back to the chapel. I hadn't built any of those previous steps of this build, so I wanted to show you what was involved. But now I've attached the outside of the chapel to the blank wall. You can see I cut out the windows and then split open the paper to wrap around the wall, so that there's no visible hardship. It's a really smart, easy way to cut those cardstock. You can see I've also added some trim boards to the gauge lens. You can decide how much detail you want to put in the building, but I think more the merrier, as architectural details help catch No one's ever going to see any of this. Except the artist go overboard and use it alter. But you certainly could. There are just a few things I throw in because I know they'll be there. And then that gantry over the top actually serves two purposes. One is to keep the gauge piece vertical in a line, but also that's what the steeple is going to be sitting on. The roof will then be cut around the steeple. And last, I'm showing you how the outer wall will be attached to the inner wall once the windows are installed. And here I'm showing you how to construct the steeple. It's built up with 3 layers. The lower tower, belfry, and then the steeple relatively easily. Closest to your two boards out there, lower tower and belfry, to ease the transition to areas. I gotta say, these decisions complicated are godsend to the intended. Being able to put on a precise amount of glue exhaust stuff that is essential in doing these scratch points. If you're interested, I'll put a link to all the tools and supplies I use in the description below. Another thing I could get along with that is a magnifying headset that helps see all these tiny things. You know just how small any gate was before I began. And that shows in this step. I've got decent sausage fingers, and sometimes when trying to work with these small details, my hands shake like I've got Parkinson's. The headset I actually got from Harbor Freight Tools. It's like $5. They even come with lights on the side, but they're battery operated, so the batteries are just windows from the Sketching website. I have samples of them. I just size them to the size that I need. I draw a rectangle and then resize the window down so that it fits in the rectangle. And it makes it the right size, and then you get any style window if you want. Now, the prototype I'm basing this build off of is at a 6/6 window zone. On the windows, there were 6 lights up top and 6 lights at the bottom. I tried that, and the divider is the one onion. Just 2
Fresh gives you a whole week of freshness with just one wash.
Patients make a choice between wanting whiter teeth or having sensitivity protected teeth. Now they don't have to make that decision. Sensodyne Clinical White gives 2 shades of whiter teeth, 24/7 sensitivity protection, and is safe for the enamel. My patients will love it.
Oatmeal.
No. Full pizza.
No. Avocado toast.
Oh, no.
Eggo waffles.
Yes!
Wait, you both said yes to something.
Breakfast. You want for them. Made straight from the grill. No one says no to Eggo. Lego my Eggo.
This is my music tasting club. I was kind of in my classical and jazz bag. I was like in my school's jazz band. I like learning to play the drums. I was doing like classical piano, so I guess a bit more muted, a muted purple. I felt quite like adultish when I was like playing classical music. I was so into rap. A$AP Mob, Lil Uzi, gassing up high school, so like really cool. It's so cool. Like a deep blue. I'm definitely consuming more music than I ever have. Currently listening to Song and listening to a lot of Central C, Olivia Dean. Oh, every song is such a number in color to me. My latest song is definitely Red. Forever is definitely Light Blue. I mean, this is the music of this one. Hope it works.
Pull it in, make sure it's well heated to the label. Then I come in and cut around the label, just so that I'm giving myself a border, so now
this little thing, considering the sizes that I'm working with, this has worked out really well. Michael, a wallpaper seam roller, which is a little bit wider, and they actually run like $15. Not one of those things, even like $8. That's ridiculous. Got this at the dollar store. I think it's some kind of massage thing where you roll it. Supposedly freeze this thing, and then you roll it on. It's supposed to help you, but it works great for that. And I use it to attach all my textures and stuff to cardboard and roll it on there and then screw it on into this little bumps and bubbles. And now all I do is I cut out the plastic right around the white label. Most of the time I don't cut out the window from the plastic until after I do this. I like to slide it down a little bit. It usually just takes 2 or 3 passes, light passes, to get down to the plastic. Obviously, more Okay, that was a little bit long-winded on the window cutting, but I just wanted to show just how fitted it was and why we have that. So here we are getting towards the end. The windows are installed in the walls, side walls are up, the roof is finished now. That was another bit of fun, cutting out strips of roof. But I think it turned out mostly okay. As you can see, the roof has been cut around the steeple too, with a bit of flashing that's been installed right now. And more trim around the front doorway framing, the arched door, and those black bits are downspouts. They were last minute additions because of the calculation error I made. But it's all fine.
So the top, coated with a couple coats of AK's Ultra Matte Varnish. But churches didn't have signs all that much. The small communities in particular went to service every Sunday. They knew it was coming up for 5 weeks and if we need to be told. And if they did miss a service, they could find out from their friends what happened, what's coming up. So signs really only started popping up in the 1960s. Now, of course, today they got all those pithy sayings on them. In the 1940s, they didn't need the signs, so no signs necessary. Now that the trap was in, though, I'm going to start making just some scenic design here.
Team, it's been a grind, but I think I've aged well. Some might say perfect. Who's ready to show who the cheese? Hang on, the cheese is coming!
Cheese, official sponsor of the college football playoff.
From the outside looking in, it seems simple. Take the cash, count it, and turn it in. On the inside, it's different.
We had a Cronus operative come in on this address.
I bought 14 more of those things. That's a $20 million. We gotta be smart right now. We gotta move this money up.
seemed to let me run it.
Think you'll take the money?
Were you and Captain Dominus close?
Tell me what's going on.
First off, back the fuck up.
You're not going anywhere with that. You're not here to go over it.
Hey, this is the third and final installment of my video build series. I'm going to turn this two parts into this, a scale replica of the historic Erie train station. Welcome back to Concordia. I'm hosting Patrick and my other dogs. It's based on the model of our classic village where the railroad goes, except I'm building it in a As I highlighted in my previous two videos, I began the process of Inkscape, the free online design software, applying textures to parts that would become outer walls of the station. With this build, I tried something new, applying lettering to the walls in the form of a pattern I found on textures.com, another free online resource. Although it looks pretty heavy here, as it turns out after it's actually printed and applied to the part side, it's pretty muted. And in future buildings, I think I'm going to try and go a little bit darker to show the actual lettering. But once I'm satisfied with the patterns, that they're on the buildings, I printed out using the method I previously mentioned of sending my files to the local office supply store using the printing service, since I don't own a printer. And in the meantime, I set about to cut out all the pieces of card. I used to do this by hand, but as I showed last time, I recently bought a Cricut die cutting machine, and it automates the process by precisely cutting out all the pieces to the exact measurements needed. And then it's just a matter of cutting out the images that I printed out and gluing them to the correct part for assembly. I use regular Elmer's glue that I trained one. It's just glue applicator. I use big glue to fast glue without making a big mess of it. I have got one on Amazon over the descriptions of stuff for yourself, because they're real helpful. I then carefully line up the exterior wall texture with the card and roll it with this dollar store rolling and things like that to ensure it is easier. I don't bother waiting for the glue to dry, because after just a few seconds, the paper no longer shifts. I'm going to use my scalpel to make X's across the windows and door openings, so I can then wrap the texture around the frame and leave no card edges exposed. Here I'm just using my tweezers to sharpen the fold over the edge of the card, just so that there's a nice crisp line there. Then it's just a matter of putting a drop of glue over the edges of the paper so that it can stick to the back of the card. At the end, you're left with an exterior wall that has the doors and windows for that. Speaking of windows, with this build, I try to do something different. That is, use this vinyl paper from Dollar Tree to cut out the window frames. And as I think I mentioned it, I wasn't really happy with windows as I've cut them. So this time, I thought I'd let the Cricut cut them out. I gotta say, I'm super impressed with how detailed the frames are. The sashes of these windows are less than half a millimeter, I'd say. One of them here is called even. And you basically just picking out the parts so that what's left behind is your window frame. Here, I'm carefully pricking out the window frame from the line. And because it's a permanent vinyl, it's got a sticky back to it.
Did you put the straight edge?
Press it right onto the acetate and it'll stick and stay. So I go through and I attach several of these window frames to the acetate before cutting them out. But as you can see,
you gotta be real careful that you don't pull too hard, too fast. Otherwise, you'll obviously tear it. Using your scalpel when you steel fluid, I cut out the windows, leaving a little bit of an edge around the frame so I have a surface to glue onto and not have it actually cover up the window part or clouding it with the glue. And then this is the downspout section of the building. So I'm going to glue the frame to the downspout section, and then the exterior wall will be applied over the top of this. That way it sets the window back into the building, gives it a little depth. I do the same thing with the side walls. Because there's only one layer here, we don't put that downspout layer on the side walls. I actually glue it to the interior side of the side wall. And that way it still gives that 3D effect. And that wall is glued into place on the side of the building. It doesn't need to go off. The acetate blends in with the wall, you really don't see the inside of the walls. And the exterior, I think, looks pretty neat. Now, one thing you may be noticing on this exterior wall is the green trim that I've got on the buildings. And for that, I actually turned to the Cricut once again. I wasn't sure if this was really going to work. I designed the landscape for all the molding around the sides of the walls. Ordered it to Cricut, and then I cut it out to see if it would work.
Hypoallergenic clean recommended by dermatologists. No irritating residues, no dyes, no perfumes.
At Bob Evans, we're so committed to making delicious, buttery, real mashed potatoes, we've started speaking in That means you butter believer. Real milk and fresh potatoes for a mash made in dinner. That one speaks for itself. When you need comfort, bring up the Bob.
I don't hear anything.
Well, I definitely heard it. Well, not definitely. I mean, I was like aware of it. You know what I mean? Like I was having an argument with my brain about it.
You are very chatty.
This was a long-term story back in the day.
And while it's very good, it actually looks really good, I think. I think it did an excellent job of replicating the green trim all around. And once again, you have to be super careful when you lay this off of the vinyl backing. As you can see, it's just very delicate, so you don't tear the vinyl. Now with this, you can see that the trim that I cut out by hand with paper, it was just not good. I didn't like it at all. So that's why I turned to the Cricut to see just how much of a better job it could do. I think it's excellent. So there's just so much you can do with this Cricut, with this modern railroad building, in designing your buildings. It does have some limitations, like on the windows. I had tried to do a 6-light window, and that's 6 individual panes, and that was just way too small for the Cricut to cut out. It was tearing up the vinyl and cutting it out. So that's why I have a double hung window. I probably could have gone with a 4-light window, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. But I just decided to go with the double hung, and I think it looks just fine. At the end, the left was a 3-sided box, and I didn't attach the 4th side just yet because I got to drill the holes for the nano LEDs I'm going to be installing. And to get off this end, waiting. Feed it through the holes together. It's actually soldered on some beads to drop it down to the table. And I'm going to need to get like 26 or 28 gauge wire for this. As small as I thought this was, those big red and white wires were pretty big and annoying. But as you can see, it actually lights up the room really well. And I think it'll look good on the table. So then it just comes down to sealing out the fourth wall and success. Unfortunately, I didn't get any video of me making the roof. It's pretty straightforward. I used channels, method of designing and building the roof. And then I just took sheets of texture, roofing tile texture, and applied it. In the past, I've actually cut individual rows of tile, including each one, but I figured at normal end scale viewing distances, you're not going to tell, and I actually think that's right. I think it still looks okay. I think that's fine. The real tricky part was putting on these little parts for the top of the roof, cutting them out. I did like 3/4 inch cricket, cutting them out. First couple successful. I finally was able to get some cut out. Instead of half millimeter cord, I glued them into place. What really helped was actually coating them in glue first and then painting it. The glue really stick them up nicely and allowed me to apply them with trouble. Also, and now it's just made up with several layers of card. My designs were a little too intricate initially, but the cricket, when they cut it out, it took care of all those really small details that I keep trying to include. It looks the screen when I'm designing it, as opposed to when I'm actually trying to cut it out. And here it is completed. A few more details to add, like the room, benches outside the waiting room, and the gutters along the roof line. I think it actually came out really nice. I'm really pleased with it. It's not perfect, of course. They can see in the stair, the gables, some extra details I put in that were cut out on the cricket, another challenge there. But overall, I think it looks good. I think it's going to be a nice addition to the layout.
No, the pizza.
No, I go waffles.
Yes!
You go say yes to something.
Welcome to Concordia. Based on the model railroad classic book by Louis Westcott, H.R. Tech Roads. Except I'm building it in Enbridge. This episode of Northern Jersey Railroad, I'll be showing you a chapel I scratched through using a free online self-writing scheme. The designs are printed out on paper to various kinds of cardstock, and the walls, roof, and architectural bits are glued together. So let's see the problems. if you're interested in learning how to use Inkscape, I strongly recommend you check out Michael Scott's YouTube channel, Canpal, which I'll link to below. He has numerous tutorials showing step by step how to use the program to design your own building instructions. You know what I use to design and build a chapel. So looking at your paper copy, decide if any changes are needed, and once you're happy with the final design, print out another copy. But this time, go to a serial box to get a feel for what the actual building will look like on your layout. This is another building I made, a little merchant shop. And here I'm taking the printout of the buildings and tracing a general outline onto the serial box that I'll then use a glue stick to apply a layer of glue. You want to make sure it's fully covered so the paper sticks to the cardstock and doesn't pull off later on. Then you want to carefully roll out your design on the glued up area and smooth out any bumps or bubbles that may form. I haven't had that happen yet, but you want to make sure that doesn't happen. It'll ruin the look of your design, especially for the final product. And then once it's glued, let the glue set up for about an hour or two, and then begin cutting it out. You can use an X-Acto knife, which is what I used when I started, but Michael and others who scratch build use a scalpel and for 10-8 blades. I finally got one off of Amazon, and it's remarkable the difference in the cut. I highly recommend you get one too. Once you have it cut out, you can assemble your card mock-up to see your design. As you can see here, that's to add the sidewall to my merchant store building. That's okay. You can go back into Inkscape and fix any final details you need or want to add, like a wall. Then the fun begins. Adding the textures and features to the inside and outside of your building. Here's the inside of the barbershop and general store, along with the walls of the second floor apartment.
Vila presents more.
As an executive, I see no value in you.
You know we had the Bangkok merger coming up. Who we were? Ringer.
You won't ship around.
Not in the office anymore, Bradley. You are stuck with an awful boss.
Greetings, Motto Railroads. Sorry, that's a joke. I am Sir Trains-a-Lot on YouTube. And in this video, we're going to be talking about dragons. Not doing dragons, I want to do dragons. Trains, okay. In this video, we're going to be talking about Motto Railroad. So be sure to subscribe to this channel. DJ Strings. More ridiculous content. Especially my sword from Spirit. Prepare to die.
I know there's something wrong with me. I get it. I'm going to teach you scratch building. Now, when you see this tower, this was Pitt Tower in Pittsburgh. I'm going to build something similar. This is going to be one of the easiest scratch building videos. It's something very difficult. It's a little different technique. So watch the whole thing. Now, using the drone, I got this shot, and I'm also using Google Maps. You can use it from aerial and 3D, Street View if they have it. I use vehicles in front of it to kind of guess the size of something. Don't beat yourself up trying to figure out the exact measurements. Trust me. You just want to go by how you think it looks. I'm going to skip that bay window also for now. Always think about how much space you have to work with. This is the only space I have, but it's what I need. CMR makes this parking lot and streets and stuff. It was too big, but because it's styrene, I cut it down. I only need all this, just wanted a few spots for the police cars. And being styrene, it was easy to cut to fit. Speaking of styrene, I'm using .020 plain styrene to do mock-ups. You can do it with cardboard, but I went straight to the styrene. You need a good cutting mat and a sharp X-Acto blade. and you're ready to go. Now besides just the .020 plane, I also got the clear. It's for your windows. I know there's some bracing. It's all you really need. Nothing too complicated. This is gonna be a simple building. Hey guys, I'll get back to the video in just like promise. But I gotta remind you, we're less than 2 months until Christmas. If you have a special woman in your life, you want to get something that she's always gonna love and need and use. Take it from me. I know women. Okay, no I don't. But I do know that women love color. And the Ridge.com, who sponsors my videos, come out with the Ridge wallet, 3 amazing colors. She's gonna sea glass, eucalyptus, and my favorite, lavender. Now, if you bought a Ridge wallet, which I told you all year to get, because I've been using these for years, she's probably jealous. And so, now's your chance to get her one that she's gonna love. So let's just start with the Ridge wallet. Carry cash. Cool. You got that clip right there. It's RFID technology. Driveway alarm. Digital pickpocketing. Alright, so here's how it works. Got indent right here.
Somebody out there, I assume it's a delivery or something.
Credit card.
0.
Wherever she needs. And goes right back in. That's how slick it is. Do something nice for her. She'll be putting up with you all year. Go to the ridge.com/BJ's Trains. Once again, ridge.com/BJ's Trains. And at the coupon code, use BJ's Trains. Save 10% off your order. Once again, BJ's Trains, coupon code BJ's Trains, save 10%. She's gonna love you, you're gonna love me. Now back to the video. I used the front piece and put it on a piece of plain styrene for the back wall. Here's what I want you to learn from this video. Number 1, take your time. Number 2, make light passes. You're not gonna cut through it the first try. Don't try that. These are just nice, easy, light passes. Being .020, it's perfect because you'll be able to just snap it once you have just some light cuts in it. And I'm not going to go through all the measurements. I used actually some vehicles to kind of match like how many vehicles long was this building. It's trial and error. And once I have the basic cuts made on this, then you just simply bend and snap. I'm not an artist, I'm a duplicator. And so what I have to do when I constantly look at pictures. So I have a picture on my phone. Now where the cutting mat comes in handy is I was able to line up the styrene onto the lines in the mat. This helps keep it as square as possible. And then it's like, okay, this top window. Nothing specific with measurements. I just kind of said, all right, it looks like it's about this low in proportion with the rest of the building. Make some light passes. And I use both a combination of like a foot long or an 18-inch long roller. I also have this little guy, which sometimes looks a bit easier. So no matter what you're scratch building, this is the techniques that I use. It's real simple. Light cuts, snap it out. Look at pictures, guesstimate how things look, just in proportion to the rest of it. I mean, to scale, I might be completely wrong, but it's starting to look right. That's all that matters to me. And I just gotta repeat the process. So to make the sidewall, I just put a piece of basic plain styrene next to it. Okay, it's this height, and I'm just gonna guess it's about this wide. It fits in my space. I'm only modeling what I see. So as for the other wall, I'm not even cutting out windows. I'm not doing anything with the back. The back of the bikini. I'm not gonna see it. I'm gonna try my best to line up the windows so that it matches. didn't match exact, and I don't care. Don't get frustrated. And once I have what I feel is good enough, snap. And then I put the 3 pieces that I need painted. Remember, I'm not painting the back. Oh yeah, I had to cut out a little garage door. I'm not doing a very well detailed foreground below. This is a background below. That's why I'm not using brick sheet. I'm not going to waste it. So I used tape. Now I'm ready to paint it. But when painting styrene, you've got to prime it. You've got to prime it. I hate Rust-Oleum, so I used Krylon, just simple white primer is what I had. And I used my cosmetic wedges that you can get at Target or Walmart. And that Woman's Beauty eye. I'm using 50-cent acrylics from Walmart. Once again, I'm not an artist. I just look at that picture and I'm like, okay, you know, it kind of looks a little bit yellow, a little bit orange, a little like clay color. And then I use my dipping technique. All my painting videos, this is what I do. All my weathering videos, this is what I do. It's like, okay, is it yellow enough? Kind of looks a little more orange. And I go by what I think looks close enough. Like, you know what? It looks a little too dark. Let me add some white. And once I get it blended, that's how I blend stuff. This actually gives you like a brick look. There's no brush streaks. That's why it's my favorite way of painting. There's no brush streaks. It looks like I had too much caffeine to do. And this dries so easy. You don't like it? Just add a different color and go over top of it. My favorite thing ever. Close enough? Yeah. So representation. Yeah, I know the sunlight looks a little yellow. A little lighter. Okay, that's a little too dark. But that's what I'm talking about with this technique. You just keep going over it and over it and over and over it until you get a color you like. Okay, yeah, it is a little bit more yellow when the sunlight hits. I'm making the central scenes. Yellow. Very light dabs. Very, very light dabs. If you want this to dry quicker, hit it with the blow dry. I use 0.0 strip styrene. You can use pretty much anything you need for it works right. With the strip styrene, you have to brace everything because the walls itself won't really hold that well without the bracing. I brace everything. And then I use the liquid glue from Plastro. I think 10X also makes good glue. And this bonds pretty much instant. It's not like white glue. It bonds instantly. So once I had that piece in there, I just kind of lined up the best I could. Now there's so many different things. There's a million videos about using blocks. It's one of the reasons why I like having this cutting mat. Try to help me keep things square. And that's just all this is. It's just repeating this process. Brace everything. Leave some room for your roof piece to fit inside the walls. The roof piece should fit inside the walls. So make sure the bracing's not at the tippy top. And that's how how it's going along so far. I still got to take those roof pieces out. The roof pieces were not glued in. Until that time, I have the clear styrene. If you remember in that photo, their windows are green tint. So what would I do? Love it, love it, love it. Krylon, sea glass. You can still see through it. You spray it outside, and you only do one side. Okay, so the side that does not have the paint on it, that's going to be the side that gets attached to your walls. painted side will never touch glue. That side right there. Finagle to get this in, and then I'm using Tester's Window Maker. It's good for plastic because it dries so clear. It doesn't work for plastic. It doesn't leave a haze like super glue. Never use super glue. Never use super glue CA or anything for the windows. It fogs them up. I want to just do some detail work, so I got more stripped styrene, spray painted it brown, and that's just kind of what I did for the awning around it. I said I'm not doing that bay window. I added some details, and then the back wall, so you'll never see it. I don't have to detail that wall that you won't see from the other angle. Boom. And I will probably go back one day and do the bay window and maybe put in more details. This was just to show you how easy it is to scratch build something. This is just a beginner's video. So you're not intimidated. I can't make something. Yeah, you can. If I can do this, you can do this. And if you want to make something more elaborate, take your time, your worksheet or your siding sheet, that type of stuff, that's all available. This was just something simple, easy. This is a one-night project. All right, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. More videos coming. Oh, I got some engine reviews coming up. You're gonna love it.
Dream big, work hard, and switch to Progressive. You can save hundreds.
Is your bladder leak pad designed for comfortable, worry-free sleep? Try Poise Overnight Ultra Thin with Wings. The thin, absorbent materials provide up to 12 hours of wetness protection, while stay-in-place wings help prevent shifting and bunching. Try Poise.
Alright, for those of you that don't know, the first video I ever made on the internet was about Aldi, my favorite grocery store. Well, they've been dethroned. Today we're talking about H-E-B. It is a grocery store that pretty much only exists inside of the state of Texas. Everybody thinks H-E-B stands for Here Everything's Better, but it actually stands for Howard Edward Buck. Despite operating in only one state, it is the fifth largest privately owned company in the entire United States, generating tens of billions of dollars in revenue, and it is affectionately dubbed the FEMA of Texas. We're going to get into all of it right after word from our sponsor. Oh, you have a comic gun.
Well, Brandon's saying, yeah, I thought I could do it.
Okay, bye.
I'll bet when you look alike.
You guys do not look alike. No, Brandon, you're not allowed to shave your beard ever, especially if I'm drunk.